What's up, Chris? It's Friday.
It is Friday. Happy Friday to you, Jay, and happy Friday to
Yes.
those of you who watched this episode on Friday. If you don't watch it on a Friday, happy whatever day it is that you're joining us. Welcome to 2025. Jay, do you know it's been like 3 weeks since we've done the show?
It
Um,
has. Yeah. I mean,
right.
the holidays have gotten in the way for sure.
Yeah. Welcome to the e-commerce hour from On the Rocks, the show where we talk about e-commerce and e-commerce adjacent information, specifically as it's related to technology and tips to run your e-commerce business. I am Chris Gino. He over there, just one finger, is Jay Kimmelman, and we are the hosts of your show today. Like I mentioned last week, we celebrated the New Year. The week prior to that, it was Christmas. But the week prior to that, so like 3 weeks ago now, we talked about a few trends that we expected going into 2025. Things like AI and automation, omni-channel selling, AR and VR. They're all coming. They're all coming in waves. They're all going to happen to you soon. So is hyper personalization of advertising, which ties very nicely to what we're intending to talk about today. This week, we're going to talk about marketing content for e-commerce brands. We'll talk about the who's, the where's, the what's, the why's. We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. But before we do that, let's get to the news.
There was no
Obviously,
news
it's
this
been,
week, was there? Really?
you know what? Maybe was there? There may. It's been 3 weeks since we did the news. I only went back like a week and a half and like looking at the news, and most of this news is like relatively like it's not like life changing or anything. But maybe I missed something
I don't
critical.
know. Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll find out if it's all that interesting or not. So first in the tech news, and in the AI stuff specifically, there are a couple tools out there that appear to be doing some of the same stuff that we've talked about. Some of the stuff that will help you in some of the other content creation that we've talked about. This Avatar is releasing Velocity, which is their low cost tool for AI video production, and then StoryStream is doing something similar where they're making and creating this tool that allows you to do shoppable videos, live commerce with it that helps to increase and provide those dynamic experiences. And so I think as we'll talk about a little bit more in depth later, the and as we talked about as a trend coming into 2025, like this ability to have data and ads that people can like live in effectively, that's just personalized to them. These types of tools are going to help you to be able to create that content and be able to see that happening. Um, so know that that's happening. Those are the only AI things that I saw this week. Like I mentioned, I didn't go back to a couple weeks ago to see if there were new like AI news there, but I bet there was, and I bet it's similar.
Well,
Um,
and these items are right up the alley of what I've been looking at for the last
right?
couple of months for myself. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna jump in here and check out these two apps that you mentioned
There you go. Yeah.
because I'm doing it. I might be doing it the hard way. I mean,
That's right.
I'm automating it through other tools, but we're gonna check that out,
Yeah,
especially if it's
and
a low
there
cost tool,
it's
because
supposed to
some
be.
of
Yeah,
these AI tools can get pretty costly.
right. Yeah, this velocity one is supposed to be pretty. I mean, it's intended to be a low cost option for this.
Yeah,
So, and that may be that it has low features.
maybe
But I love to get your feedback on it, regardless.
it probably will
um,
have a little Velocity logo in the bottom corner, right
yeah, yeah,
about
something like that.
there.
Yeah, something like that. That feels right to me. Jay, I was excited because Amazon released their state of procurement report, and they highlighted some trends in 2025. And holy smokes, if they weren't just like lined up directly with what we talked about. Jay, could you believe it? AI was a trend in 2024. So is
Not at
digital
all.
transformation. So is sustainability, which I didn't mention in the intro, but was one that we talked about last week as well. And then Amazon in their report also included resilience. So like those right in line with all the stuff that we talked about the last time that we spoke, and and not surprising at all, and very consistent with what I think that you'd expect in 2025. So
Most
glad we
definitely.
were lined up. Um, and another like technology tool, and this is actually it's not wasn't AI specific, so I didn't include it in the AI section. But Talk Shop Live introduced TSL Shopettes, and that's like a short 90-second little video that you can post on Meta, that allows consumers to watch a video and click through to have direct purchases of the stuff that's in the video. So with direct purchase links, and so I think you'll continue to see companies do stuff like this. I don't know much about Talk Shop Live except that I recognize the name, and I don't know if that's like because they're really popular or because it sounds like something else. I'm not really sure, um, but but regardless, I think you'll continue to see people who have and companies put together video related content that allows you to click through and to see and explore the actual merchandise and whatnot that's in the video. So you'll see that in big dollar news, Jay. SPS Commerce acquired Carbon 6, and when I was reading about this, this seemed like a kind of, at least to me, and Jay, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but this seemed like a really weird acquisition, because if I understand right, SBS Commerce is basically like a marketplace, and Carbon 6 is like a Amazon support company, and so it's either like SBS was trying to like expand into an additional into Amazon support as well. I tried to understand exactly what was going on here, and so I'd love to get your feedback on those two products and kind of how they might interact.
Well, I know SPS because it's an EDI provider. They get the documents that are sent by the larger firms,
Oh,
translate
okay.
them, and push them into platforms like Sin7 Core for our
Oh, okay.
clients who accept orders from, let's say, Walmart or something like that. And
Oh, got
then
it.
they can send documents back and forth. So it's a document exchange platform. Granted, it
Oh,
is ancient, and I mean they are building new documents for it, but I used it back in the '90s with the pharmaceutical manufacturer I worked for,
yeah. Okay.
and so it's old style technology that is still used today, but it's how the systems they put their purchase orders in, you send the acknowledgments back and forth, you send the remittances through it, so all that's there. And my thought with Carbon 6 is, if they're an Amazon support company,
The
well,
same thing.
they have reached out to the party to the sellers, that
Right.
maybe they can reach out to them and connect them to larger networks through their platform.
Well, and what I've learned in this conversation, Jay, is that I think I had the wrong understanding of SBS Commerce. I think I was getting them maybe confused with Big Commerce or someone like that, because I thought they were a
Maybe.
marketplace, and clearly I think it's just that I've gotten
Yeah.
something wrong in my mind, because actually, now that I understand that, like this makes total sense actually, because SBS, if that's what they're doing, Carbon 6 basically does that same thing but for Amazon, and so they're just expanding into the Amazon
Right.
space to do the same set of tools there. So
Gotcha.
that makes a whole lot more sense. I was
All
so
right.
confused
There
of
you
like,
go.
why would a marketplace buy an Amazon support company? That's weird, but uh,
Yes.
but that's definitely not what was happening at all. And so now it totally makes sense. So good job by you, SPS Commerce. Way to expand into another area there. Exciting, exciting, exciting. So that, Jay, that was the tech news from the past week. Again, I skipped a
Nice.
couple weeks prior. I didn't go back into much before that. Are there any tech news that you've heard over the past couple weeks that we should talk about today?
Not particularly heard of, but with Amazon, I've noticed that the Amazon shopping pages have been updated.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, I had an issue with my Prime card, and I'm
mm,
sitting there trying. First of all, it was connected to a video, and my family was trying to purchase a video, and it wanted me to snap a picture, use a QR code,
yeah.
and try using my card. And I went in, and everything looked very different. Like they did a major upgrade throughout their entire platform.
Mm.
And actually, the card still didn't work. Apparently, over the Christmas holiday, somebody tried calling in to get information on it, and Chase shut down the account without even contacting me.
Oh,
And
bold
they
move,
said, "Well, we
Chase.
figured you'd call in sometime." But I mean, and that's just a byproduct of this. But it just appears that Amazon has done a major UI upgrade across everything. And the one thing when I'm on my phone looking at Amazon is Rufus is front and center now. So
Oh,
the
okay, yeah,
AI
that
is
makes
just right
sense.
there in your face. So
There you go.
yeah,
2025 trend
for sure,
coming. It only took a week.
for
Um,
sure.
Yeah. In other e-commerce news more broadly, right? There is still some news there over the past week. Um, these things aren't directly related to e-commerce, but I do think that they speak to the like growing infrastructure that's around e-commerce.
Most
Kohl's,
definitely.
Macy's, they're both closing stores. JC Penney and Big Lots are like trying to like weasel out some funding and working deals just to keep their
Uh,
stores open. Like it seems very clear that again a lot of the middle market big box places are finding some struggles, right? And that's likely because of e-commerce and the continuing
mhm.
growth of e-commerce trending and the trends that are associated with that. So um, it's no surprise that that e-commerce is continuing to grow. I read one article, but it wasn't really sourced very well, so I have no idea like where it came from, and so I didn't want to include it in the news directly. But it talked about that there's an expectation that the e-commerce market might increase by as much as 50% in 2025 alone. That number seems really, really, really like way too high. But it also talked about, and that's why I didn't. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't sourced. But it also talked that the global e-commerce market is expected to increase by maybe 7% in 2025, which felt a lot more real. Um, and so again, I think that's consistent with these big box stores or bigger stores like retail stores having
Yeah,
struggles. Those two
for sure.
things go hand in hand. Not a huge surprise at all. But yet another reminder that that if you aren't an e-tailer of some sort, there's probably value in making sure that you figure out a way to be. And then if you are, you have some opportunities. So be aware of that. I saw Jay that our friends at Meta they're trying to pair up with eBay. Now I had no idea that this was even a thing that they would even consider, but it sounds like their Facebook Marketplace is intending to like list eBay listings directly on their platform here
Yeah,
in the U.S. and in Germany and France, so that they can like I guess they're just partnering together to be able to expand the ability of connecting those things. And I don't know if Facebook's taking a big old fat cut of that money or what exactly is happening there. But it's interesting to see that the two platforms are playing nice. Maybe Facebook is trying to steal their underlying tech or something. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But I do think it's a nice thing to. It makes the marketplace smaller, right? Where you can go to one place and get lots of
yeah,
different feedback, and what that'll ultimately do is like it'll allow those third party people who are using eBay to find customers easier because the Facebook marketplace is a little bit bigger, I think, and it'll allow. I think in the longer term, for continued like direct targeted ad stuff around this, where now you have an entire extra marketplace that you can send people to be able to find exactly the I don't know the Pikachu bobblehead you need or something. Whatever whatever it might be, I'm sure there's some space for it. But it was interesting to see this. I haven't tried it. You nodded your head like you'd already seen it or something. Jay, have you bought
I,
something from eBay through Facebook Marketplace already?
I have not, but I was busy over the break. I listed something on both Facebook Marketplace and eBay. Now
Oh,
it
there you
hasn't
go.
sold yet, but I did sell something. But I mean,
Yeah,
I was on a purge fit over
sure.
the holiday, so I did list something, and it'd be nice if you could just hey click a button and instead of listing it separately, allow your post to go over automatically, and you know
Yeah,
pay a little extra to put it in groups and all this other fun stuff. So
right.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense to do it.
Yeah,
Make it easier to sell your stuff.
right. Speaking of making it easier to sell your stuff, the next thing that I have listed here as news is a thing that makes it easier to sell your stuff.
There you
Um,
go.
right. So I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Jay, but have you ever bought something and then not returned it on time and been like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
nuts. I'm stuck with this thing now, right? Like that happens all the time. And particularly, I know this happens for my wife. It happens in the clothing space. And so Poshmark and Loop are partnering for a return into resale opportunity. So for those situations where you blew it on returning it timely, they're allowing you to jump into the third party market there to be able to resell your unused product for a small fee. Cool partnership to see that that's happening, right? That helps you to purge those things that you
Yeah.
you didn't quite manage to get out timely. And I do think that this is that sustainability thing that you'll see happening in 2025. This is exactly it, right? Like otherwise, that other thing maybe you could find a place to sell it on ThreadUp or something like that. Maybe you could sell it on this platform directly, but it seems like this may make that process easier, and give you a better a better marketplace to do it, which I think is nice. So good to see that kind of thing happening. Um, Amazon also did make my news list for something else, not for their platform reboot or whatever. And it's now I'm gonna have to go to Amazon like later to be like, did it all change? And I just didn't notice because I feel like I was on Amazon yesterday and didn't notice. But they are offering ad information and detail for purchase data up to 5 years now. So if you need that information from Amazon, it's available now or will be available, that kind of thing. So just know that you can get a little bit more information than you used to be able to from Amazon. So thanks, Amazon. Thanks for sharing some of that old data.
It's in
Appreciate
the
that.
cloud. It lives on forever.
Yeah, well, now you can access it for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
So who knows? The Meta was also doing some other things. They made some bigger news when Zuckerberg filmed his hostage video about fact checking. And I say that as a joke. I saw that on Twitter, I think somewhere, where somebody was like, "This looks like a hostage video," but ultimately, what Facebook is doing is they're taking a very Twitter-esque approach of we'll let the community check the facts on this instead of employing people to do that. I don't know, Jay, whether that has an impact on e-commerce, and so I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Do you think this matters at all to people that are selling through Facebook or through different platforms like this?
Obviously, it doesn't matter based on some of the videos I shared with you last week regarding the tax base and what people are claiming in their ads. I don't think
Right.
there's been fact checking on those at all. So I don't think it really matters.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, I don't think that most e-commerce sellers are going out there making false claims.
Yeah,
I think it's related to politics and
yeah.
things where they're trying to get one over. Things
Hmm.
like phishing schemes. They're trying to get you to click
Sure.
through to go somewhere else like that, where they're going to do that. It's all that clickbaity stuff.
Yeah.
I was looking at some marketing stuff too, and it's like create a clickbaity headline for this. It's like, yeah, I don't know about that, but
Maybe. Yeah.
it's all
So
about
again,
the
I
hook, man. It's about the hook.
right. I hear that. Now that's consistent with what I thought you were going to say, Jay. Is
Yeah.
that this is kind of not that big a deal to e-commerce or e-tailers, and I think I agree. But it's just a thing to at least know, like maybe be aware of it at least.
Right.
And then a couple final things. USPS is expanding some same day and next day offerings. So I don't know if they didn't offer this before, but they're offering a next day or same day delivery solution to volume sellers through Ground Advantage and their Connect offerings. So if that's a thing that you want to be able to do next day or same day delivery, know that you have that option now, especially if you're a volume seller. Um, and that may be valuable to you as if that's if getting your product to somebody quickly is exactly what you want your brand to look like. So know that that option exists to you if you're selling through a bunch of volume through USPS. And then finally, Jay, I know we brought this up the last time that we chatted that returns have been a problem or can be a really big number. But Deloitte and AppPress Retail, they issued a report that
That's
found that fraud and abuse of the return system is up. Now,
a big
2024,
number.
yeah, 2024, they estimate that there was $103 billion in fraudulent returns in 2024. Now that's only up with just a pinch to 2023, because I think 2023 was like 101 billion. And overall, like returns were down a little bit, so the percentage of returns that were fraudulent as a dollar value is up as well. Um, so know that that's happening. Know that that's a thing to be aware of, and and know that that's a thing that you probably need to plan for. to understand. Maybe that's where the fact checking needs to happen, right? Maybe we need some community
Yeah.
fact checking on returns. Um,
Well,
but
instead of committing fraud, check out Poshmark and resell that stuff.
Right, there you go.
There you go.
That's definitely one way to do it now. Gives you an opportunity, right? Like that, and I
Yeah.
think that may be the easiest way to combat something like this, right? Is if you are offering marketplaces that allow people to resell goods effectively and easily, then I think you'll see this number continue to drop, or not continue to drop since it's at the top here, but you will see
Hmm.
it drop. If you're offering solutions like that allow better and other alternatives. So yeah, I know that returns are a big thing, and frauds in the return space are no joke too. Frauds and abuse. So just be aware that that can be an issue that can substantially impact your company. So know that that's happening. And that was the e-commerce news. Jay, did I miss anything that you can think of since we chatted last?
No.
All right.
I think at this point, everything is focused on moving forward this year and, working on that ROAS and getting as much return on their ad spend and investments.
Right.
So, let's jump on in here.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So, Jay, it's January, and in
It's
January,
January.
I have made the commitment to myself to go beer free for January, just to let it go for the month to kind of reset my body. I did the same type of thing last year,
Yeah.
um, and uh, and and so I'm doing that again. So today it is water in my zero cup. And it probably will be for the next couple weeks at least. Yourself? Hey,
Water
hey.
in my zero cup.
All right.
I've been battling flu type symptoms for about a week now,
Yeah.
and I am on day 2. Yes, it took me that
Of
long
of a
to get
life.
to the doctor. Day 2 of the meds, and I'm actually feeling human again. So yes,
That's fantastic.
yes,
All right. Now, Jay, because it's
yes.
snowy here in DFW, the agenda that I sent to you is the old one. It's not the updated one, so we're going to use a different one. So don't pay attention to that one. Let's pay attention to the real one.
Okay.
And let's get to it here. So again, if you're selling on platforms like Shopify, Amazon, or Etsy, you already know how competitive that space can be. Content content marketing, right, isn't just nice to have. You have to have it, and you need to be able to build brand awareness, to create engagement, and to drive repeat business. So I mean, think about like is it Glossier?
Glossier. Yeah.
Um, they're a beauty brand that started online. They didn't grow just because of their products. They focused heavily on content, on user generated posts, on beauty tutorials, and relatable messaging, and they built a loyal community that turned into ambassadors, right? So people who are using their products and promoting their products as well. Today, we're going to talk about some things that you can do, like what they did, to achieve similar results for your business. So that's from social media to blogs to email campaigns. We'll talk about all the, like I mentioned before, all the who's, what's, when's, where's, and why's. And so first, I think the best place to start, of course, is the why. Like why would you even want to do this, right? Let's start with the basics. Why does content matter? And Jay, it's pretty simple, right? When you're building content, there are two things that you're able to create. The first one is that you're building awareness. You're letting people know, hey, I'm a brand. I exist. I'm out here in the marketplace. You can see me. I do this thing. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That awareness is a really, really powerful thing, because if people don't even know who you are, why will they ever buy your stuff? But the second thing that it can do is create trust. So it builds trust. And I think about that in the way that, like, what we're doing today, right? This is the first, it's an awareness tool, right? Hey, we're HiRock, and we're out here talking about e-commerce related stuff. We do stuff in e-commerce. That's the building of awareness. But the second thing is the building of trust, right? And that's that we can have conversations around relevant e-commerce topics, and you can believe what we're saying, right? You can believe that the product that we're offering to you is a real valuable product for you. And that's exactly the way that content marketing and content strategy work, right? Is they allow you to see like these these well crafted posts or the testimonials from customers or helpful tips. Like have better content that can build trust in your brand, right? Like that's exactly what why you want to build content and make sure that like why it matters, right? Then another thing that it does is engage your audience. And so if people are already aware of you and you want to, remind them by creating new content, you're able to bring yourself back to the top of the mind, right? To say the way that I had an old the firm that I worked for before, we had a business developer for a little while, and the way that he talked about this was like you want to you want to be like the squirrel that runs by the backyard, right? You don't necessarily need to be like always there, but you want to be there often enough that people remember, oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, that guy. And that's exactly what this does. By creating content and getting yourself into the marketplace, you allow your customers to remember that you're there. You remind them that you're valuable and that you're providing entertaining content. Right? They're more likely to return when you do those types of things.
Yeah, it's that old adage, you've got to be seen, or your brand's got to be seen 7 times. I think it's like 12 times now, but you get it out there, and then there you go. I mean, and that's what the content helps drive. Now,
Right.
you mentioned, Glacier turned customers into ambassadors. I mean, that's
Yeah.
perfect because I went from customer to ambassador with zero.
Oh
And
yeah.
a
There you go.
lot of what I do is content for zero. I wrote a book for on zero. And the other thing that the customers and the content provide is social proof that it works.
Right. That
And I think
trust.
that's almost as important as the awareness and the engagement is the social proof.
Right. Yeah. And that trust is so important
Yeah.
because it's like it's like what difference does it? It's like reviews, right? It's the same idea, right? If you're
Yep.
getting great reviews, that's building that social proof. It's building the trust in your brand.
Exactly.
And so when you can watch it happen or see it on a wall, or sorry, right when we see it on a wall, like it's that's the thing that allows you to build trust in your brand, to make people like, oh yeah, I can do that thing. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. I like that idea. That's great, or whatever it may be. One other thing that continuing to provide content does is it builds and drives SEO, right? So it can help your store rank higher on Google, get you more organic traffic, all those kinds of things as well. And so this is like the underlying. Hey, the more stuff that you create, the better your returns are going to be. The one challenge, of course, is that creating content takes time. Um, you you might not think it, depending on how we talk about this here, right? But Jay and I spend a lot of time coming up with the things that we want to talk about. I spend more time than I'm probably willing to admit reading through Feedly and dropping through articles. Those things take time, and then of course we're sitting here for an hour recording as well. So the time just continues to add on. So many sellers may feel overwhelmed trying to juggle content creation with running their business, and that's why it's so important. And this is what we'll talk about next: is the what's. It's why focusing on high impact strategies is so important and can help. Because you'll not be surprised, but the high impact stuff, if you can, right, is the stuff that really can make a difference. That's why it's high impact. So again, that's the whys. You want to build your brand. You want to engage your audience. You want to show that proof of concept, the social proof of trust of this product, and then you also like get the added bonus of driving SEO. Then the what's. There are many ways to approach content marketing, but these are some of the like tried and true ones that we've seen for e-commerce brands, and that we think are definitely things that should consider. And the first is to create a strong content foundation. So that there's a couple things that you need to be able to do that. And the first one is to understand your audience. You need to know who they are, what problems they face, and what kind of content they actually enjoy. So what do they like to watch? What do they like to see? What do they like to read? Once you have that clear picture, the first thing that you want to do is to create a calendar. So a content calendar. Come up with this. It doesn't have to be fancy, right? It can be pretty simple. It could just be a spreadsheet that says I'm going to do this on this day, this on this day, this on this day. Or you could be like Jay and I, and you could be like, hey, we're gonna have a show. We're gonna have a show on Friday. We're gonna have a show on Tuesday, and that's our calendar, right? Like around the time it's gonna happen. What you've set off, and you also want to
Consistency is key there.
It's
So
so
if you're
important.
going to post on X, you want to post it on the same day at the same time every week. If you're
That's
going
right.
to go on Instagram and do reels, same thing. And if you're doing themes, you want to do those same themes on specific days. Two for Tuesdays, or Hump Day Wednesdays, and Free for All Fridays. Things like that. You want to make sure you're building that into your calendar so your audience knows what to expect. Like,
That's right.
what to
Absolutely.
expect from Chris and I. On Tuesday, we're talking accounting practices, and on Friday, we're talking e-commerce. So there you go,
Mm,
consistency.
that's
Although
right.
we did miss 2 weeks there, so
I mean, it was
sorry.
holidays, man.
It
They got to
was the
cut us a break.
holidays.
They got to cut us a
Yeah.
break. Um, but speaking of that, right? You want to talk about those things in your blog posts. You want to consider seasonal trends. You want to consider regular updates or like a monthly email campaign. You want to consider all of those things and be thoughtful about how the time of year impacts the amount and ability for you to deliver those different products. And so when we talk about types of content, so when you really dive into the what's, there's 5 things that I think that you'll typically see, or at least 5 things that we're going to highlight here. There may be even more than these, but those 5 things. The first one is like a product guide or a tutorial. How do I use this thing? Um, and for me, that was very. We talked about that on this show when I bought the Super Trellis items. Right, they right there on their facts page had the tutorial, and it linked to their YouTube page. And so on their YouTube page, they're continuing to highlight, hey, here's how you can use this product. This is what it looks like. Oh, you got it for the first time. Here's how you put it together, and and here's the different ways that you can make it work. Right, like that is a product guide. That's a really important thing that allows you to show that product in action. So again, it's that thing that builds the social trust, and it can contain a whole lot of detail because it's very specific to how the product that you're highlighting, how it works, and how people can use it. Jay, do you have any other thoughts around product tutorials, or is that kind of a good coverage?
Product tutorials are things that last forever.
No.
I know I'm looking for something on a SaaS product. Sometimes they're 3, 4, 5 years old, and it's still relevant today.
Yeah. Yeah, the next type of content that you can see is what we'll call you'll hear the term UGC, right? UGC is great stuff because it does the same thing that Jay's talking about of building that social trust, and that's because it's user generated content. And so that's what I'm doing right now by having a conversation about Super Trellis. Is I am Super Trellis user generated content right now, because I'm highlighting the way that I use the product, and I'm sharing a conversation around how I am using the product, highlighting that from my own platform, not from Super Trellis. And it's free. Like Super Trellis isn't paying me to do that. They're not paying me to put that back there and talk. To keep pointing the wrong way, to put it back there and keep talking about it every week. Like, but it is something that it's free for them, right? And it's important. It shows you why I like the product, and all of that continues to build that trust. So UGC, if you can get it, is some of the best stuff out there for sure.
In some cases, though, UGC is paid for and sponsored.
Yeah, of course.
They get those super fans and the celebrities, and they're paying them either a number, or they're paying them a percentage of
Yeah,
sales.
or
So
through clicks or all kinds of different things, right? It
right,
could be
right,
there's lots of different ways that
for
can be
sure.
compensated.
Yep.
Um, a third type of content that you will definitely want to consider is seasonal or trending content. So when whatever the ice bucket challenge happens again, whatever the next one of those is, right, and and you want to feature your product, you get the CEO out there to like take a cold plunge like that. That's a trend, right? And then of course around and I guess it really feels like I'm dating myself because I feel like that was like 5 or 6 years ago. What's a good trending concept right now, Jay? Like what are you seeing on TikTok all over the place?
I am seeing the APT dance a lot.
Okay. All right.
Avatar.
Yeah.
That's big right now.
Yeah, and
Uh,
so again, when you're just adding to that by
yeah,
having your team do that same type of dance, right? That's tapping into that trend.
yeah.
Um, the other thing is, we just came out of the holiday season, but there are holidays upcoming, right? Martin Luther
Valentine's
King
Day,
Day,
man. Valentine's Day is
Valentine's
coming.
Day is a good one,
Yeah.
and so you can use those opportunities to create specific content around your product and even maybe tell a story, right? So if your product, if you want to couple it to Valentine's Day in some way, you can connect those things together to make it relevant for that holiday. And a good example would be like a clothing brand that talks about their top summer looks, or some post around back to school shopping, like that kind of thing. Or maybe you're an accountant like us, and you start, hey, is tax season tough for you? It's tough for everyone. But you know who can make it easier for you? An accountant like me, right? Like that would be very seasonal and relevant conversation topics, like in content as well.
Yeah, and
Uh,
other things you could do along that is like behind the scenes stories, like showing the office with all the books, all the ledgers on the desk, and as you're going from January to April, watch it, do a
Time lapse or something.
time lapse of everything going away. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
not in today's
Absolutely.
digital world though. It really won't work that way, but
Yeah. But uh,
yeah,
but that storytelling and brand content can be really important as well because it gives you that feel of authenticity, right? Of like, hey, this is really the way that I live my life. These are the types of things that I do when I make a video, when I spend time with my team, when I tell you the story about like what my brand is about. That type of content does the same thing that we've talked about before as well, right? It helps you to build that trust. It makes you as a business owner or you as a business like appealing and relatable, and all of those things are really important when you want to reach out to new customers and want to continue to grow your business. And then finally, it will come as no surprise, but email marketing campaigns or text message marketing campaigns, there's a lot of value in those. They are one of the highest ROI content types because you can use them for very specific situations, and you can provide good opportunities for abandoned cart reminders, right? Those types of situations where people maybe just forgot that they were on your webpage or something like that. You can provide personalized product recommendations based on some of the information that you may know about your customers already, as well as exclusive discounts. And all of those things can be extremely valuable to customers and to making sure that you're bringing people into the door. So email marketing and SMS as well. I think those kind of go hand in hand.
and you could
Those
highlight the 4 items we talked about before in your email marketing.
That's
So
right.
from the tutorials to the UGC, the seasonal
Yeah.
content, and the storytelling and brand content, throw it all in your email marketing.
Right. Yeah. And so those are some of the biggest what's. Jay, are there any uh, content strategies that we didn't really talk about here?
I think we
Do you
covered
want to add?
most of it
That's a
there.
pretty
I
good one.
mean,
I think so too.
you know, I, I don't really see many e-commerce brands using direct mail these days.
No, no, I wouldn't think so. Although yes, you say that, but one of the biggest e-commerce brands that I can think about, and I'm also here's some UGC content for them as well.
Yeah,
Viore, who's gigantic now, of course, um,
right.
but they started as a very like regular
Yeah,
e-commerce brand. They 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 used to mail out and then will still do. They mail out like seasonal. So this is a seasonal content, but it is a direct mailer of like, here's the new trendy fashion. Um, and me as a customer, I get it every time, and I flip through it every time because I'm always interested in, what kind of new pants they may. And I'm wearing Viore pants right now, but what new pants they may be putting out for the upcoming season, so I can be nice, comfortable, and fashionable all at the same time. Um,
Nice.
so there are some situations where especially if you're big enough and you have a loyal enough base, maybe you could do some direct mailing. It is,
Maybe.
but it is also like it's like email marketing,
Right.
just a little more physical. Um, so there's that. The next topic, we've talked about why, we've talked about what. The next thing would be where. So distributing your content across platforms, right? This is a really important thing.
Yep.
It's also important, I think, that you don't have to be everywhere, right? You want to be where your audience is, and so like you want to use Instagram for visual things, for really picturesque stuff. You want to use TikTok for things that are quick and engaging, and then maybe if your product fits it, like you can use Pinterest as an opportunity to be inspirational to people. You can use some of the things that we've talked about, like email campaigns, to stay directly connected to your customers and use that platform so that email as a where. Or you can use things like Shopify's blog feature or other plugins to social media that allow sharing and make it easier. So there are lots of platforms out there, right? Making sure that you're in the places where your customers are is really important, and understanding, like kind of like we talked about at the beginning, like where your customers are and what they're looking for, is really important in helping you to determine the best where for you, for sure. Jay, do you have any extra thoughts about that?
Well, I was thinking there that you're generating content, and in some cases, it would still work on multiple channels. I wouldn't just create short form video and just throw it on TikTok. I'd also throw it on YouTube for shorts and
Yeah.
in Instagram for reels as well, because those reels are showing up in Facebook as well. So you're getting them all over the place, and you basically create it once and you spread it through all the platforms,
Yeah.
and that way you're making sure you're getting covered. I think you get your best bang on Instagram using carousels.
Mhm.
Carousels are multiple images in a post, and they'll pop up. And the next time it comes up, it pops up with the second image if they haven't looked at the first one. So it's keeping
Yeah.
it in front of
Right.
your audience. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely do that and repurpose as much as you can.
Yeah, but I think that that's a really important thing to consider as well, right? Is not just where, but where can you use the same thing, especially if you expect that your customers are in several of these spaces, right?
For sure.
That becomes extremely valuable. And so we've talked then about the what, the why, the where. Let's talk briefly about the how. Um, then that means tools, resources. We talked about it at the very beginning. There are AI tools that keep coming, that are going to help make this easier. Things even uh, we've talked about the ones embedded within both Amazon, Facebook, all of the TikTok, their new like video features. So there are a lot of tools that can help you to streamline your content creation. And so you definitely want to be aware and take advantage of them. Some of them, like design tools like Canva, they can be really user friendly and perfect for creating professional looking graphics. Like that's what those platforms are for. Some scheduling platforms that you can use to help you with that calendar, and making sure that you're consistent with your calendar. Things like Hootsuite or Buffer. They can help you to plan posts in advance and be very consistent with that calendar that you've described for yourself, right? That you've set out. I want on Tuesday at 10, on Thursday at 3. Like these are the times that I want these posts to happen. Using platforms like that can be really helpful in making sure that you achieve that. Um, there are lots of different SEO and analytics tools that exist. Google Analytics, Shopify's Insights, those things can help you to track performance and then to optimize your content. So you can take your best performing ones, the ones that are having the best and most reach, and continuing to make content that's similar or make content that's built off of that content, that can using the information and data that you have can help you to be to see that better. And then finally, we talked about all of the video producing AI tools, but there also are simple other GPT style tools or language model tools like ChatGPT that can help you to talk through ideas. I love doing this with ChatGPT myself. If I'm a little bit stuck, or even not just a little stuck, where I have an idea, but I really want to make sure that it's more polished, right? You can use ChatGPT to talk that through. And then, of course, you can even use it to draft content. I've done that as well, where I've given some information to ChatGPT to be like, I want to write a blog post about X. Here's the stuff I want you to include in it. Here's 100 pages of Word documents of my voice. Can you make something sound like me? And we can drop it out on the internet as a blog post by me that I review and make sure is correct, right? So like those tools exist. ChatGPT is out there, Claude is out there. There are lots of tools that can help you to look through your, oh my God, what's the word, Jay, when you're talking about the language within your email,
Your voice.
or your, not that, it doesn't matter, but
What?
they can help you to
Your
the no the like scripting like the language of the script. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I gotcha.
I can't think of what I know. There's a word that I'm thinking of, and I just can't. Your copy. Haha.
There you go.
Yeah. So your copy. So you can have ChatGPT review your copy. Have these tools like help you to draft your copy. Like that, they can be really helpful. And like we talked about before, using these types of tools can help you to save time, which allows them allows you to get back to the running of your business that you're most effective at. And they can make your content marketing efforts more efficient, right? Which again is the end goal of doing all these things. And Jay, what more do you have to say about that?
So this hits really close to home because I built a number of automations around all of this we just talked about.
Yeah.
And the first one is pulling a blog post that was just posted and having ChatGPT summarize it, transcribe it, summarize it, and then build blog posts and post those blog posts for you. And then going even farther about creating your videos. Like let's say you're doing a video, have it do your posts for your videos as well and auto post those. So there's so much that can be done here, and yeah, it's a lot of fun doing it too.
Yeah. Creating content can be a whole lot of fun. But Jay, just like you talked about, there are lots of different things that you can do, right? We've touched on a whole bunch of different things. We've touched on a whole bunch of different ways. We've touched on a whole bunch of different hows, right? And all of that stuff can feel really overwhelming. And so the last thing that we want to talk about today is where to start, right? And that's exactly what I think is the most important thing here. It isn't as important that it's perfect. What is important is that you do it. And that means focusing on one or two channels. Maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's email, but you pick the thing that you want to do, the area that you want to focus on, and you start with that one. And you pick what works best for your audience, of course, and you start with that and allow yourself to be successful at that before you start to push into other areas. You just don't let it be overwhelming. Start small. You don't have to chop it into a million different categories. And if you think about like what we're doing here, that's kind of what we've done. We have a show that we come to you for each week, right? We hang out with you for an hour, and we haven't yet started to chop that into a million little subscripts. But I promise you that that's on our radar, and it's a thing that we will be doing once we're consistent at doing this, right? And so focusing on the one channel first is really important. That also means that you can start small. You don't have to go posting every single day, but consistency matters, right? And it matters, and that consistency matters more than volume. Now it's true that like the more content you create, the more likely you are to have something go viral. But it doesn't always matter, right? And I think that's the thing that holds people up a lot too, is right. You don't necessarily need this to be the perfect copy with the most exceptional videography that goes along with it, right? You just want to be in the space and out in front of people. Because the way that you build your brand awareness, the way that you help improve your SEO, the way that you build that trust is not by having the most perfect and beautiful video. It's by doing all of the other things that we talked about. It's by believing in your product, having a good story to your product, and telling people about your product. And so those are the things that you want to be able to do, and that you can do very, very easily and very regularly. But that consistency is what's important. And then I think a thing that maybe gets overlooked, but it's also really important in this process, is to track your progress. Like, you want to know what's working, you want to know what's not working, so that you can use that data to help improve the efforts that you're going through, and and make sure that you understand, like, what's successful, what's not successful, and what should you focus on going forward. So, Jay, any extra practical tips or any extra thoughts around that?
Yeah. So my mantra when it comes to this stuff is now is better than perfect. Do it.
That's right.
You're never going to get it perfect. It's like you're building this website and it's like, I just need to make this one more change. I need it perfect before I let it go. It's like, no, do it now. Just let it go and fix it later. And it's always going to be a work in process. So just do it. Don't worry about it.
I think that's the right message. And so, to wrap things up, right? Content marketing is one of the most effective tools for e-commerce success, right? If you're not out in front of people, people are never going to buy your product. It helps you attract new customers. It keeps those customers that you do have engaged, and it turns them from just customers into loyal fans, right? And that is, and then once you do that, then you have that customer for life, and you can continue to use that relationship in a positive way. So start small, be consistent, and don't be afraid to make mistakes and to experiment. The key is to create content that resonates with your audience and showcases your brand's value. It does not have to be perfect. And so I think, Jay, like you mentioned, that's the best spot to leave it today. Is
For sure.
Start small, be consistent, don't worry about perfection. Get out there, get in front of people, use some of the different tips, products, the who's, the what's, the how's, and the where's from today to make sure that you're marketing better. Jay, any other final thoughts there?
No, but I am going to use some of these tips myself this weekend and do some content myself.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's an important thing to remember, is that, like, it is always everybody is working through these types of things, right? Everyone's working on getting better at it. Everyone's working on making their tools as good as they can be. And so that can be a reference point for you. We're doing that here. Your competitors are doing that out in the market space as well. And so again, start small, be consistent, don't be afraid to fail. And that's where we'll wrap it up. Jay, before we go all the way, it's been a while since we chatted. Do you have any exciting weekend plans or anything big coming up next week?
Weekend plans. I have some pizzas to make tomorrow.
Yeah.
Abby is heading back to college on Tuesday.
She's
So
still
she's
home.
having some friends over tomorrow. So we're going to be making pizzas here. So we got that. Countdown to NASCAR is on. We're less than 30 days.
I thought you were going to say countdown to 2026 was on. Only 355 days to go.
Well, I did see that the day after Christmas, 364 days till Christmas. I mean, that already started, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, NASCAR season's upon us, and yeah, I think that's some of the content I'm going to be creating this weekend. Some NASCAR.
There you go. Fun.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that. It'll be a little bit more boring weekend here, I think. It is a little snowy here in DFW, but you can see that the sun's coming out. It's coming right off, bouncing off my neighbor's house, right in the snow on their roof, right into my face. So you can see that the sun is shining. So the snow melt should be happening soon. But that should make the weekend a nice and fair one, at least from a weather perspective. Not too much going on there. But Jay, you're a big NASCAR guy. I'm a big NFL guy. The playoffs are starting this weekend, so I'll be tuning in, or at least at least maybe refreshing ESPN. I don't know that not everything is on a station I can tune into, but I'll probably try and see if I can coordinate with some friends to get together to watch some of these football games. And then my little one, she's one of her friends is having a little birthday party this weekend, so we're doing some kids birthday party. So
Always
that
fun.
should be fun on Sunday afternoon. So we're looking forward to that as well. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, start small, be consistent, don't be afraid to fail. That's the main message. You can't go. I mean, something is better than nothing, unless you do the opposite of the things that we talked about today, and you poop all over your brand and make people need to fact check you. So,
Just remember, failure in these things lead to successes because you're learning
that's
something
right.
from what you've done. So don't
That's right.
fear failure. Embrace it.
Absolutely. And then come back next week and follow up with us on whatever content topic we're talking about next week. You know where we'll be and you know what time, because we're starting small, we're being consistent, and we're not afraid to fail. So
There
we'll
you
see you.
go.
We'll see you next
Have a great
Friday.
weekend, everybody.
Have a great
We're
weekend,
getting out of
everybody.
here.
Bye.